and I am going to give you a brief rundown of how to put together a Facebook event for your upcoming Christian Science lecture. Now, what you're looking at right now is the homepage of Facebook. I have created a mock Facebook page called TFCCS Test, as you can see right here. And you might be asking, why would I want to put together a Facebook event? Well, it's all up to your discretion, but a Facebook event is very simple and easy to put together, as you're about to see. And if you already have a Facebook page for your branch church, or maybe a personal one that you've used before for promoting Christian Science lectures, this is essentially a free added layer of visibility for your event. And like I said, it's easy to set up. And once people have RSVP'd, you can send them notifications from your event as reminders to attend. And then also what you can do from your Facebook event is you can invite anybody who's in your Facebook network. So you can send invites to all of your Facebook friends. You can also, what's cool is that once somebody RSVPs for a public event, then that information is essentially public on their profile, which increases the chance that someone, maybe one of their friends, will see that they're attending this event, investigate, and maybe they'll go and see what it's all about. All right, so once you have a Facebook page set up, maybe for your branch church, you're going to come over here and you're going to go to this events button. All right, so what you're looking at right now is your Facebook Events Hub. This is where you can search and discover new Facebook events. So what's happening now? Discover events, i.e. find ones you might be interested in, or you can browse events by category. So if you are on here looking for a Facebook event and you're looking for something on food, you might click here and that would take you to upcoming food-related Facebook events. But that's not what we're here for. So let's get into create new event over here on the left-hand side of the screen. So this is the beginning page for creating your Facebook event for your Christian Science lecture. And what you need to identify is whether this event is going to be online or in person. For today's purposes, we're going to be focusing on online lectures. So if you're hosting an online lecture, click here. All right, let's get started with the bare bones of setting up your Facebook event. So what's your event name going to be? I'm going to put in Free Christian Science Lecture, and then the title of the actual lecture here, Experiencing Heaven Now. You don't have to put Free Christian Science Lecture. I just find that identifiers like this would help anybody who's not a Christian Scientist in your area say, okay, I feel like I have a better understanding of what this actually is, even from just the first glance. Now I'm going to choose a start date and a time. Okay, you can also choose end date and time. It is definitely not necessary. I am going to identify how long the lecture is going to take in the event description in a moment. So I'm personally going to leave event date and time blank. And I'm going to move down here to privacy. So this one's interesting. You can have the event private, so only people who are invited can see the Facebook event. You can make your event public so that anyone out there, if they have access to Facebook or the link itself, can see your page. Or you can make it public only to your friends on Facebook. So that's like, we're kind of starting it private, so only people who are invited. Or you can take it one step further and have only your Facebook network be able to see the event, or you can make it public. So again, anybody, anywhere could potentially have access to this event. And I'm going to choose that because lectures are public. I want this to be as visible as possible. So I'm going to click public here. Going to click next at the bottom, and location. So this one is different from the initial question that asked if the lecture was going to be online or in person. This is online lecture specific. So where is your live stream lecture or your webinar lecture, maybe your audio lecture, going to live? Is it going to live in a messenger room in some kind of chat? Probably not. What we are interested in here very likely is external link. You could put your Zoom link in here, for example, or if you're live streaming to your branch church page, or even just want to direct people to your branch church page to get more information about who your branch church is, or information about Christian Science, you would want to direct away to the external link. Now, for demonstration purposes, I'm just going to put christianscience.com in here. Yours would obviously be a different link. And then there's also the option for other, and it says include clear instructions in your event and details on how to participate. That could potentially be useful for you, but not here. I can see most likely people would want to put in an external link for their Christian Science lecture. Now, let's click this next button here at the bottom, and we're going to input the event description. So right before I put a brief event description, I'm going to put this little note: you are invited to this free 1-hour Christian Science lecture, so that people know exactly what they're getting into. And then I'm going to put in this description of the lecture itself. So what's it all about? What can people expect to hear about? And remember, it can be a little bit longer than this, but make sure that you're keeping it clear and concise. Okay, so now that we've put in the event description, we're going to go down to the bottom here and click next again. Now, this is the final page of setting up the event. What we're going to do is we're going to upload the cover photo with the collateral from Board of Lectureship. I have to search mine. All right, so you're going to use your banner and you're going to upload it. And if it hasn't justified quite right, no problem. What you're going to do is you're going to take your cursor over here to the left, and you're going to drag a little bit over, and voila. All right, now down to event settings. So here is where you can add a co-host to your event. So if you foresee that you're going to need help administering to the page, maybe you and someone else from your branch church are going to trade off, this is where you would add a co-host. You'd essentially just type their names in here. Because this is a mock account, I don't actually have any friends in my my Facebook network on this account. So sad. But you would just type in a name here and it would search through your contacts on Facebook. So your co-host would need to be a friend in your existing Facebook network. All right, so moving on to a little bit more into privacy. Do you want to show the guest list? So essentially, do you want to make it the people who have RSVP'd, that list, do you want to make it public facing? I'm going to turn that off. If you want to keep that on, that's fine. Only admins can post in this event. That means that only you and or maybe one of your co-hosts can create posts in this event page. If we toggle that off, that means anybody who is invited can post in this event. Now, if that makes you a little bit nervous, that's fine. What you can do is toggle this on so that anybody can create a post, but they all must be approved by a host or a co-host. Now, regardless of which one you choose, it's really important that you are regularly checking your Facebook event. Remember, this is likely a public event, so you need to be checking in to make sure that the language that people are using is appropriate, that people are posting content that is relevant to the lecture only, etc. All right, so once you've selected your privacy settings here, depending on your comfort level, you're going to click Save. And then finally, you're going to go down here to the bottom and click Create Event. And once my computer loads, you're going to see our finished product. So here we are on the event page for the upcoming Christian Science lecture, Experiencing Heaven Now. I'm going to exit out of this. Okay, so how do you invite people to this event? Well, there are a few ways you can do it. You can start by clicking this invite button right here. Now, again, I don't have any friends on this mock account, but what you would do is you'd type a name in here of somebody in your network, and you could invite them through there. It should auto-populate. If you had any friends named Jane, that's what would happen. And you can add up to 50 people, it said there. And then, oops, didn't mean to do that. What we're going to also do if you want to share your event or invite people is you can come into this button right here. This is kind of Facebook's universal icon that means share. So you can start off by sharing this link to people if you want to direct them to this Facebook event page that we're looking at. You can share to the newsfeed. You see, it would be sharing to the TFCCS test account that I created, and I could share it directly to my newsfeed so that anybody in my network could see it. You could send a message to somebody in Messenger. So again, this would need to be to one of your Facebook friends. You can share to a page. Unfortunately, all I have is TFCCS test, but if you had other pages, you would be able to share to those. Share to a group is very similar to share to a page, or you can share directly to a friend's profile. So you would essentially type in the name of somebody in your Facebook network. It would populate, and you could post this event to their profile or newsfeed. All right, so those are the methods that you can use to invite somebody to your Facebook event. If you find that, oh no, I made a typo in the description, or I want to add or subtract information, never fear. Go up here to this edit button, and you can edit anything and everything that you used to set up your Facebook lecture, with one exception. You cannot update the privacy of the event itself. So you cannot turn it from public to private and vice versa. So make sure that you are comfortable with that setting from the outset, because that's kind of set in stone once you've created your Facebook event. Okay. Now, lastly, I just want to show you this button right here. This Go To Link button is where we entered where we want the online lecture to live. That's a mouthful. But essentially, do you guys remember when I typed in christianscience.com as where my webinar, lecture, or live stream lecture would live? Well, that's the button that the URL is linked to.